Hey, good morning, Facebook. I'm bringing you your headlines this morning. Drew Trafton checking in with you again. I'm going to be showing you our air map here real quick before we get into headlines. We had a big update this morning. We had an air quality alert for our area until 6 a.m. and then the National Weather Service decided to let that expire. So some good news, but that doesn't mean everybody's in the same boat. So we're going to be taking a look here at my computer screen. This is the Minnesota air quality map that we're looking at right now. Yesterday I shared the national one, which is airnow.gov. This one is on the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency website, another really good resource for you because it gives you very specific numbers about what our air quality looks like. But this was updated just a few minutes ago, actually. And what we're seeing here is a pretty general picture of air quality. So we are in the moderate zone for our region for the most part. Even parts of our viewing area, Roseau, for instance, you're in the clear right now, actually. And it looks like Grand Forks is just about to get there in good air quality. But the rest of the area is very much in this yellow, which means moderate air quality. So that means if you, have asthma or COPD or some other sensitivity, it might be difficult for you to be outside today. And then really, as we get into, southeastern Minnesota, the Twin Cities area, that's where we're seeing the more complex picture. But that's even improved since we left the air at 7 a.m. this morning, so in the last hour, because we still had pockets of what was considered to be very unhealthy air out there. Right now, what we're seeing is mostly just this unhealthy area here, or unhealthy for sensitive groups there in that orange color. So some improvements as we start the day. So some good news there. Okay. Also wanted to let you know about an update to a court case that we've been following for about the last year, a little bit more than a year actually. Jared Adams, who is convicted in Grand Forks now of several felonies. We're talking attempted kidnapping, attempted gross sexual imposition, terrorizing, simple assault misdemeanor charges, a few others, interfering with an emergency call. That all stems back from an incident in May of 2022 where a woman was going into her apartment building and she says that he followed her inside, claimed he had a weapon, grabbed her by the neck. She got away from him, ran into an empty apartment unit in her building, fought him there. He ran off. He was arrested just a block after that, though, or a block down the road. He had facial injuries from that fight. He told police, yeah, I did have an interaction with that woman. Well, he was convicted yesterday and now will face sentencing in September. A few of those felonies are Class A felonies, so those come with pretty hefty prison possibilities. So we'll keep on top of that for you. We also wanted to let you know about that Highway 34 road project that we've told you about a few times now, the one between Detroit Lakes and Osage. That has been delayed once again. So that was supposed to start again today. It was originally scheduled to start June 5th. And now they're pushing it to July 6th. So what's happening there is the contractor for that project, MnDOT contracted that one out, says they want to consider adding a second crew to that project. And the reason they do that was that would limit then the amount of time it takes to have a detour in place. So right now there are no road cones up or anything like that, but they want to limit that window. And you might be wondering, well, what's that going to do to the finish date now that this has been pushed back a couple times? The good news there is it's not going to impact the finish date. It's still scheduled to end by the middle of October. So good news there. We also want to let you know that the Jamestown Public Library has made a decision on how it is going to be handling the state's new law when it comes to explicit content on its shelves at the library. So every library in the state basically has to go through this process of deciding how they're going to handle this. And the Jamestown Public Library Board voted to allow the public library director to have discretion. And so what's going to happen is they're going to take it on a case-by-case basis instead of reviewing all of the books in their library. So if somebody files a complaint, the library director will have 10 days to review that material and then decide if it stays or if it needs to get moved or it just needs to get moved altogether. So we will be letting you know how that process plays out, but that is what they're going to be doing when that new law does go into effect. We also had some election news come up. So there is going to be in August in a recall election for one of the city council members in Horace. And that's for Stephanie Landstrom's seat, which she is seeking. She's going to run for to hold on to her seat there. But now we know that she will not be running unopposed because Arlen Fisher, who's a realtor, is going to be running for that seat as well. And that's a little interesting because Landstrom is being recalled due to voting against a tax abatement for buyers of new homes. And the group that led that petition in a recall was comprised partially of realtors, and Fisher was in that group. And so that election is set up now for August 15th at the Horace Fire Hall. And so we will be tracking that for you as that race comes down the wire there now too. Moorhead is breaking ground on a big project at Riverfront Park today. It's going to be a natural play hill and a bike park. So on top of that bike park, which is its own self-explanatory process, that natural play hill is actually going to include some pretty cool things, like a 26-foot tree house that will have a zip line coming off of it, and a few other cool things. We actually have pictures of that online if you want to take a look at that. But that groundbreaking is going to be at 4 this afternoon. It's open to the public. Also taking place tonight, West Fargo's first cruise night of the year, Topper's Car Club Cruise Night, will be taking place from 4:30 to 9 along Cheyenne Street. So just heads up, there are going to be a lot of closures starting early this afternoon. Access to Cheyenne from the east and west side streets, that's going to be blocked off, I believe, starting at 2, and then you are not going to be able to use it starting at 4. Ahead of that event, there will be a detour in place in certain spots there, so just be aware of that. If you're heading down there, you don't have to pre-register. You can just bring your car down there and park it along where that event is. There's going to be food vendors there, live music, so a lot of fun. There will also be a cruise night in July and then in August as well, before the summer's over. There may be one in September as well before the end of the summer, but this is the first one of the year, so kind of a fun night for it. Also, if you're in Detroit Lakes, Detroit Mountain is having its first summer night of the season, so that starts at 6. That includes, they'll leave their cross-country trails open, which are used for biking in the summertime. You can hike those, that sort of thing. And then there will be there's a cornhole tournament, food, things like that out there as well that you can purchase. So a good night to be out there. And then Perham Center for the Arts is hosting a live DJ event, which is free there tonight. And there will be food available for purchase as well. So a few local events to look forward to tonight if you're in the area. A couple stories on artificial intelligence stood out to me this morning that I thought you might find interesting. So Google is launching this tool that will allow people who are shopping for clothes to see what that clothing looks like on different body shapes and in different poses. So you'll be able to kind of determine, okay, this is my body shape or kind of approximately my size, and you'll be able to see how it lays on people with those body types as they're kind of situated differently. And so they're going to be launching that tool for women's tops at first, and then they'll move on to men's clothing down the line a little ways. But so if you start seeing that option, if you shop online for clothes, kind of interesting application for that. Obviously, we were talking about, on air a little bit this morning, how you're still not going to be able to tell if it's comfortable. But, for those of you who choose clothing for fashion over comfort, that certainly could be useful. And a lot of people buy clothing online anyway, so it's a good way to go there. And then on the flip side of that conversation of artificial intelligence, there was a big CEO summit recently, and so a group took the opportunity to survey CEOs of companies. We're talking big companies, big companies, CEOs. Walmart was one of them. Zoom was another one. Coca-Cola. And they talked with those CEOs about artificial intelligence and if they're concerned about it. And we're not talking about concern from a business standpoint. We're talking about existential concern, whether artificial intelligence could one day destroy humanity. Hey, Lydia.
Hi.
And what we found, or what the survey found, was that more than a third of them are very concerned that artificial intelligence could end humanity within 10 years. And there was a smaller number, I think it was like 8%, thought that could happen within 5 years. Now, obviously the majority think that that's not going to happen. But when you looked at the numbers overall, the majority of those CEOs polled thought that artificial intelligence could be potentially dangerous. So something just to kind of keep in mind as that conversation develops over the coming years, as that has been a monster of a topic in news, especially, and in application, and what that means for our future moving forward. Somewhat reminiscent of when social media kind of came online and started dominating our view of technology. I feel like this artificial intelligence certainly is starting to kind of follow that same trajectory, and it seems like each time one of these big developments happens in technology now, it's happening faster and faster, and everything's condensing into a shorter timeline. Yesterday we told you about a company that I had never heard of before, that was a video game maker that has kind of the market on these digital chips that are needed for artificial intelligence, and they kind of have a corner on the market, and they're now valued at $1 trillion because of that. They're the 7th U.S. company ever to hold that valuation, simply because they have a corner on this AI market. Hot Mic with Dom Izzo is on WDAY Extra from 9 to 11 this morning. He's going to have NDSU's newest offensive line commit on the show from Minot, so you can check that out. That's on from 9 to 11. And then on inform.com right now, you can read an exclusive feature piece on the NDSU professor who won her episode of Jeopardy yesterday. So we had talked with you about that a little bit yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, she won her round with about $10,000 in prizes, or it was $10,500, I think she ended up with at the end of her episode. So she can now say she's a Jeopardy champion. Pretty cool. And she will be back again tonight. Her name's Holly Hassel. So if you want to watch that, a pretty cool story unfolding there. All right, everybody, I hope you have a really good day. We have newscasts at 11, 4, 5, 6 on WDAY, 9 o'clock on WDAY Extra, and we're back on WDAY at 10 o'clock. So I hope you can join us throughout the day. And remember, air quality is getting better. It's still not great outside, so just take it easy if you have those sensitivities. Have a good day.